Hey, what's up, y'all? This is Lewis. Lewis Speaks 2023, and today I want to talk to you all about putting people on emotional probation. I realize that a lot of people, when they do you wrong, they try to offer this easy apology, this perfunctory apology, and I think it's just so easy for them to say a bunch of empty words. And a lot of times people don't really mean what they say. They just want to get back into your good graces. And so they say things like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do this and I didn't mean to do that. And so the funny thing is, you find yourself falling back in with them again. You find yourself forgiving them, and they do the same thing over and over again. So then there comes a point where you have to actually hold people accountable. And how to do that? You put them on emotional probation / emotional parole. When you go to jail and you get released because you've demonstrated that you have completed your time, you instantly are put on probation, where you are assigned a probation officer. You have to check in consistently. They have to make sure that you are complying with the rules and regulations of probation. And ultimately, over time, you get released from probation. The probation is over. That probationary period is over. And the same applies to people who do you wrong. People make mistakes. Yes, they do make mistakes. But there are natural consequences. And this is the key. There are natural consequences when you make mistakes. And while forgiveness and grace are definitely recommended, you also have to realize that while I forgive you, I don't have to maintain a relationship with you. That's the thing, you know? Because I forgive you, that doesn't mean that I have to continue to deal with you, you know? My thing is this: I saw this post where it mentioned forgiveness granted, access denied. You know? You lose access to somebody. There's a natural consequence that takes place as a result of people's poor behavior. And so, when you, like myself, were not raised on boundaries, you find this challenging. You find it difficult to enforce and erect firm boundaries. But it's necessary. It's necessary to keep you safe. It's necessary also to discontinue that poor behavior. If a person really values you and they really want you in their lives as much as they say they do, they're going to comply with the rules. And if they choose not to, that's a choice that they're making. They're choosing, in effect, not to have you in their life. So, once again, you have a partner, they cheat on you, they lie to you, you know? They may be genuinely sorry for doing these things. You have to decide, for one, if you want to continue the relationship, if it's worth it. And if you do feel that it's worth it, you're going to have to put them on some kind of emotional probation, where they're going to have to demonstrate to you their readiness to really, really invest in you in the way that you need them to. That's the thing. And what that looks like in real time is that oftentimes you just go back to being friends. Go back to being friends. Go back to just getting to know this person. See if they're consistent. See if their word matches their actions. If their words and actions don't match, they're inconsistent, sever it. It's done. You know? But you gotta start. We as a generation, as a people, we gotta start putting people on emotional probation and stop letting people run amok in our lives. Because at the end of the day, we have to take accountability for the ways in which we show up in relationships. Do we show up as too permissive? Do we show up as too passive? Do we show up as overly forgiving without seeing behavior change? You know? And that's important. I always encourage myself to ask myself the question: in what ways do you contribute to your own negative experiences? We can't keep blaming this person, this person, this person, this person, this person. We have got to sit with ourselves and take accountability for the ways in which we show up in these relationships. Because honestly, if you're overly nice, overly compliant, overly forgiving, you send the message that you don't really value yourself, therefore, you will be seen as a doormat. People will constantly violate you over and over again because you permit that, you allow that. So, stop being so nice. Like I said, niceness has its place, but I think that oftentimes kindness is better. Kindness is better. I always tell people I'm not nice, I'm kind. I offer kindness, I offer grace, but there's always a limit. Like my Heavenly Father, He offers love, He offers forgiveness, but He does have His limits. He does erect boundaries. He does draw a line in the sand. And when He sees that you're taking advantage of His kindness, of His generosity, of His willingness to forgive, well, guess what? That's when you go on probation. That's when you go on emotional probation. You know? So I'm thinking we really need to start doing that. Putting people on a probationary period where they can demonstrate how are they really sorry. How sorry are you? Your words and your actions will demonstrate how sorry you are. Are they willing to make amends? A lot of people these days, they say, I'm sorry, but the moment that you ask them to make amends, that's when they get all up in arms. Oh, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. No, because they're not genuinely sorry. Because every apology should come with some form of amends. You know, what can I do to make it up? What can I do to make things right? People are just too good about throwing that, I'm sorry. It's an easy apology. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And then they go right back to doing the same things over and over again. So my thing is this, by putting them on that emotional probation, you let them know that, okay, I hear what you're saying, you know, you're sorry, but you're going to have to demonstrate. And to be honest, it's the work that they're doing that they'll value. Because people only value that which they have worked to earn. And so if they're not working for you, if they're not working to build that relationship, if they're not working to show you that they're sorry, then they're not going to value it. They're going to keep on offering easy apologies. I bet you they'll think twice about hurting you if they've had to work so hard to get back into your good graces. They'll think twice about doing that negative behavior because they know the consequence. They know that there's a natural consequence for their poor behavior. So they're going to think twice. And if they don't think twice and they continue to reoffend, well, guess what? They got to go. They got to go to the prison of your indifference. They have got to go to the prison of your indifference. You say, you know, thank you. I can't have this in my life. I value my life way too much to continue to tolerate foolishness. And that's when you set that boundary and you honor it. And you feel good about honoring that boundary because now you have a level of self-love and self-respect that trumps anybody's validation, anybody's company, anybody's companionship. You love yourself now. And when you love yourself, you don't just tolerate empty apologies with no behavior change. Because as I mentioned in previous videos, you know, an apology without behavior change is simply manipulation. That's it. It's just a person trying to get over on you. And so, you gotta love yourself and respect yourself enough to erect that boundary. You know? So I encourage everyone out there, please, if someone does you dirty, if someone engages in poor behavior, first assess whether or not you want this person in your life. Assess whether or not they are worth giving a second chance to. I encourage you to definitely forgive the behavior. Definitely forgive. But once again, forgiveness does not mean having a relationship with the person. You can say, I forgive you, but I cannot deal with you. You know? So definitely forgive the person And if you choose to have them in your life, if you've assessed that they are worthy of your forgiveness and your investment, charge them with the responsibility of proving to you how sorry they are. You know? How sorry are they? Put them on that emotional probation. Get to know them in different settings. Begin to see how their words and their actions match. Have they changed? What changes have you noticed? What is motivating these changes? Is it simply to get back into your good graces, or is it genuine? Are they genuinely sorry for their poor behavior and they want to make things right again? Once again, time, prayer, and also your observation skills, you observing, you know, and tuning in. It'll determine whether or not they're worth that second chance. So, this is Lewis Speaks 2023. If you've liked this video, please subscribe and share. And I wish everybody a wonderful, wonderful 2023. Peace, y'all.